Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Conversations with Dee. I have my special guest, Shanell Red. And you may know her from a lot of songs. So, If and Free. She has written for several artists: Faith Evans, Trey Songz, Charlie Wilson. And we have a special tribute, paying tribute. We have Shannon Hawkins, who's going to sing If. You may all know this song. This is like the female's anthem. Like, I mean, a man that made you upset. And it just really goes in the feelings. And when she wrote this song, I could definitely feel like this is what we dealt with as a female. Like, oh my God, no, you didn't do this. So we're going to go ahead and go into the tribute. So, Shannon, go ahead and sing, convey the message to what Shanell was writing. We're going to get into it.
All right. If I don't pick up the phone like I used to, don't you take it personal if I don't do all the things that I used to do. I ain't mad at you if you get to feeling stressed up in your chest thinking that you're about to lose. And if you're losing out on sleep, home worrying about me, that's how it be. If you don't know, now you know you're gonna miss. And I ain't stressing about a doggone thing, cause I was true when I gave you my love. If you search, you will never find another love like. And you're gonna miss me. I ain't got time while you sit around and play with my love.
All right.
You could have did the rest.
If you think I caught a feeling when I heard about that other chick, I already knew about it. I just needed time just to clear my mind and ask myself. And if you would have taken care of home instead of leaving me alone, I still would be right there with you, taking care of you and steady loving you like I used to do. Cause there once was a time I blamed myself for what went wrong. That's how I spent all my time when you weren't home.
Hanging around with the
lady. No more crying, no more trying. I would rather be alone. Cause this valuable heart of mine was yours until I realized, finally opened my eyes.
Ooh. That was beautiful. Oh my God. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.
You sound awesome.
Probably one of my favorite songs on the album.
Thank you. And you sound awesome too.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, that song, I became a parent right before that album came out. So that's that whole album. But that Free, Through With Love, all of those songs just spoke so much and gave me hope and inspiration. So thank you for your writing abilities.
Nice. We was definitely male back
our voice
when we wrote that record.
Yeah.
All three of us in the room was male bashing. When we wrote that record, I remember Beyonce saying, "What was y'all thinking when y'all wrote this record?" I said, "Girl, we was male bashing."
Yeah.
We ain't had nothing good to say about them.
Wow.
and there you have it. And actually, we wrote that song for Tweet.
Really?
Ooh.
I can hear it.
I can see where that was. Wow.
And they loved that song so good. We sat there and they pulled up another track and we wrote Free from scratch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I think we were the only ones on the whole album that got 2 songs on them. Everybody else had one song.
Look,
Wow.
y'all knew what y'all was doing.
It was a good experience, you know, how they recorded, just spending the time with them and just watching them be so excited to meet us. And we was like excited to see them.
Awesome.
And watch them really record. And then, you know, listen to people talk about, oh, Beyonce don't do this and she don't do that. And I'm like, nah, because we was in the studio with her. We seen her do it. We seen her record, we seen her write, we seen her comp vocals, we see her do exactly what she's supposed to do with songwriting.
Wow.
Yep, because we had a whole different bridge.
That's awesome.
Wow.
On If, and she changed the bridge to what she wanted it to
Wow.
be. Yep.
So how did y'all like when people do that, how do you feel as a songwriter? Like, oh, they just changed my whole song.
Well, I feel like this. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When people come in and they want to change it, it's because they love the song. They think it's a big song, so they want to be a part of it and not just given a credit for something they weren't a part of. So
that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that song hot. I need to get like a couple of lines in there, you know? So that's basically what it was. I wasn't mad at it, you know, although we had a dope bridge. I get it, you know, they wanted publishing and they just didn't want to get the publishing and not do the work.
Okay.
So when people say that, I'll be like, nah, they sat there right in front of us and revamped the bridge.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Because I'm sorry, I have never given away my publishing for free.
That I don't blame you.
To any artist, I don't care who it might have been. And there have been quite a few notable artists who have asked for publishing. I'm like, yeah, this verse open right here. I'm gonna let you handle that. If we didn't like it, we would work with it together. But you're gonna do the work. You're not just gonna get free publishing from me.
That makes sense. I don't blame you.
That makes sense. Like, because I've always wondered, like, you know, how that goes and what I know, for instance, so Neo with the one song, you know, to the left, and that one and people were like, no, I'm gonna get my publishing, I'm gonna get my rights. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, some people take advantage of it, but then you'll have, I've noticed like a lot of times it start with new writers, new dope writers. They want a percentage because, you know, the new writers are trying to get in. So they'll give up 10, 15% to be on a Beyonce record, to be on a Rihanna record, to be on a Chris Brown record. Yeah, they're going to give up some percentages. But once you make your mark in the industry, like, nah, I'm good. Because that publishing is what ultimately gets you the publishing deal, gets you the checks. You know, people seeing exactly what you write and what you do. And if you're giving it all away to other people who are going to be getting acknowledged for your work and not y'all's work, you know, it's unfair. It's unfair business.
Yeah.
But
So
a lot of people do it. A lot of people ghostwrite, give all the publishing away.
Wow.
We were asked to do that once, and we was like, "Nah, we good." Some people take the money and just keep it moving.
So I know you started writing at 14. Like, how did the journey start for you?
I'm sorry. I'm actually on my interview. Yes, I'll call you as soon as I'm done. Okay, bye. Well, I started rapping, poetry. I would take my poetry, put it to the music at 14. Then I started doing melodies and stuff on my own, and then I started putting them to the tracks. I started out as a rapper. I used to hang out with all the rappers. Like I knew everybody from Cold Crush to LL Cool J, Run DMC, Force and D's. I was 14 hanging around with these grown people, and I was big for my age. So they really didn't know. Um, I acquired a lot of knowledge being around them. I started out as a rapper, and then I went from rapping to rapping and singing, which sequence kind of motivated that part of me to sing and rap. And then I left the rap alone and just kept singing and writing.
Cool.
I remember reading about that with Sequence. So Sequence, for everybody who don't know at home or whatnot, so the name Angie,
Angie B.
Angie B. So say I really love you, baby. If y'all know, yeah. Oh, another one. What's that song called? My brother strong. Yeah.
And if you want to go even deeper, that is D'Angelo's baby mama.
So yeah, that's who's Sequence. She was in Sequence or whatnot. So yeah.
And Sequence was Do You Wanna Rock? Do You Wanna Dance? Yeah, I'm older. So you guys might not even know that song. You might have to do a little homework, a little digging.
Yeah.
A little digging. But yeah, it was an experience for me. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to be on the set of Juice with
oh my God.
Omar and Tupac and all them, and with a diva. We all sat in the bleachers behind the scene at the party scene. That's how I met them. And then I think I met SWV at the time and Heavy D and all them at the same time, and we all hung out together. And I was just bit by the bug. It was meant for me to be doing what I'm doing.
Wow. That is amazing. And so for everyone who doesn't know, she's from Paterson, New Jersey, and they groom talent. Okay. So Riff, I mean, oh my God, so many people. And they just have a lot of great people. I mean, literally the singing, the rapping, all of that.
And there's a lot of new talent coming out too. You know, of course, we have Fetty Rock. Fetty just dropped a new project. And then we have Zeno Star. If you're on Instagram, it's v.nuff.star. He's also dope, the ambassador of Paterson, like amazing artists. There's a lot of amazing artists coming out of Paterson. Masterpiece Kai, she's amazing. Yeah, I'm proud of my city. You know, we have some really incredible talent here.
Y'all really do. I mean, so question, demoing songs. When you demo a song, do you like already have a vision that's going on? Like, I mean, like, hey, I want to shop this to this person, or I think this person probably would do great with this because they'll put some lovely runs in it, or they'll do a little riffs, or hey, they'll do a nice little sweet bridge to it. Do you ever think about that, or do you think about that after the song is picked up?
More than likely, we're thinking about a particular artist before, but we had to learn the hard way not to cater songs to artists, because a lot of times you can't use the record after. You can't shop it to nobody else if it sounds like Toni Braxton. You know, and that's when we learned the lesson. We did like 9 Toni Braxton songs, and she loved the records, but she was like, "Oh, they trying to sound like me," so she passed on it. But the thing is, after that, we couldn't shop it.
Oh wow!
So we focused on more or less writing dope records that could go to Toni Braxton or Jill Scott or whoever. You know what I mean? A culmination of artists, not just one artist. So as a songwriter, you have to be open to that. Unless Beyonce comes to you and say, "I want a Beyonce record." But again, Beyonce is so versatile. It's like, how do you write a Beyonce record?
Right. Okay.
The only thing that's going to make it Beyonce is when she comes in and put her cadences on it. You know, and how she sings it. So it's just about writing a great record.
And I've noticed that with different lyrics, like you can tell who would be best for a song, or you can also tell, like, okay, I don't know if they should have gave that to that person. Because there's certain songs I'm listening to and I'm like, that song is a great song. Why didn't they choose another person to sing that? Because it
Right.
conveyed that message so perfectly. So I'm gonna throw one out there for you. So the song by The Climb. I'm just gonna say The Climb.
Okay.
So when she sing, I can almost see it, this dream. I'm like, no, that should have been somebody else because that song is so powerful. And I'm just like, wow, why did they do that? And that's not to disrespect the person who sings The Climb, but
Right.
I just I expected a little bit more from that. And it's a couple other songs, like I know, for instance, some people might not know, but so The Whispers. A lot of people might might not know that Babyface wrote that song. And I was like, I knew that. I knew that. You could tell.
You
You
can
could
tell.
tell. And that's the thing, like, for instance, when you did the song Free, and then you did the song for Patti LaBelle, and you did the song for Faith Evans or whatnot. Did you feel like it was challenging to do those artists?
Well, the record, the Faith Evans record, I did that for Mary J. Blige.
Mm.
Whoa.
And Faith just happened to take it. The record we did for Patti LaBelle, we did that for Aretha Franklin.
Oh my God.
And Patti LaBelle ended up taking the record. So it's really not, again, you can say, let's kind of keep this person in mind, but it's about making a great record, because if it don't go to them, you look who you could give it to.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing for y'all. So it's never a loss for y'all, because at the end of the day, you might have that idea, but then again, somebody else will say, "Hey, you know what? I like this song." And you'll always get your song out there. So it's a win-win for the writer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like when you first started out, how was it? Like, did you have the support that you needed in terms of being a female in the industry? Because I know there's a lot of barriers that you have to cross. And I know for as far as adversity, it's really fierce in terms of how they, do things to females. A female, when they're out there doing their songs and they're writing, they have to like really push to get it out there versus in a male, they don't have to do all that because they have the people that's behind them. Did you ever experience any of that?
Yeah, we did in the beginning, but we ain't paid no mind. We just kept working. Our first major placement, was with 3LW.
Mm.
So we was in the studio with them, and we just jumped out the window and took 3 months and just went everywhere and did records, and then got a publishing deal, 350K. They don't do those kind of publishing deals no more, but without any major placements. We were just a machine, me and Tanisha. We just work, and that's what it's about, working. People seeing that you're working and understanding your value of you running around giving each producer 10 songs and moving on to the next one. So you have all these records to shop and get placed, and that's what we did.
And so you mentioned the publishing, like how is that in terms of like starting out? Because now with the new artists, they got to really think, they got to really do the research. They really have to figure, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to do A, B, and C to think about longevity, but I'm gonna have to do this to make sure that I get my respect. But in terms of publishing, do you think that the game has changed a lot for new artists? A lot. Okay.
A lot, especially for the artists that are all sampling old school music. You're not getting all that publishing. It's not happening. So more or less, it's about the artist and the songwriter thinking, do I want to have a dope record out there, or am I worried about getting all my publishing? So a lot of the records, I'm gonna use it 80%. A lot of these records out here have been sampling old school 80s, 90s records.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of originality. So all these old school writers, artists that are still touring, that are still making mad big money, they're getting paid from all these new writers using their samples, which is a good thing.
That
As
is
they
good.
should.
But guess what? 20 years from now, those that are using those samples won't be using original records from this era because everybody is using the old era records. We're going to still continue 20 years from now to use those records.
Yep. And so with the publishing, like this is my thing, just give respect to the people that made it. Just give them their credit.
That's it.
Nowadays, people don't do that. Like a lot of people are getting sued left and right. I'm not gonna name any names, but it's some people that literally I'm just like, are you not doing your research to know that song is sampled? Like I hear it.
They doing the research, they don't care. But all it takes is to go in the system and ask how much does it cost for me to pay for the sample.
So it's better to get sued. Like that's
get sued. I don't want to be in the paper to be sued. How much does it cost for me to sample this record? And some people just would jump out the window. Oh well, they'll come to us when the record blow up, and that's how they look at it. And then the money is there for them to take and go. But by then the record already blew up. I'm not mad at that either. Jumping out the window with it, because some people's samples they want $30,000. Depending on what the sample is. If it was just that little piece, but it was from Natalie Cole's Inseparable. That's it. And she took 95% publishing.
Wow.
You have that right. And it was that little piece. So do not be fooled that it can't happen. It do happen. But guess what? We didn't care. We had a dope record. And look who did it.
5-time Grammy nominated songwriter right here. Yep. Okay. Exactly. So that's the thing. Like you have an eye for that. You know those things. And so with the newcomers, do you think that they actually sit around and say, hey, I'm gonna get sued, or do they they take the chance?
I think they understand it. I'm quite sure they got people around them that told them, like they've seen people get sued for it. They just don't care. And it depends too. If you're not selling it, there's minimal small chance of people coming after you unless you're doing your numbers on YouTube and get paid those checks. Then they'll come for you. But if you just did a song and put it out, okay, you're not selling it, it's just a promo, whatever. It's not making any noise, it's just whatever. They're not gonna. You're on the radar, but they're not really checking for you. But if it blow up, they're checking.
Oh.
Wow. And like little signature things in the songs too. Like I'm not gonna say any names, but for a fact that certain songs have that little thing that people do, and they'll go and they'll use it.
Right.
And it's like, now you did not make that. That's so-and-so song. I'm not gonna say what I'm talking about because y'all might know what I'm talking about. But there was an artist that took that song. I might not be saying it right, but anyway. So yeah. For me, it's just a level of respect. Like, I guess for me, I want to make sure people get their credit. So I would definitely give credit to them. So
don't let nobody sample this record. I think Beyonce is the only person who did it. He let her do that.
Who?
Prince.
What song did she sample for Prince?
I think it's it was in a Goldfinger movie. I can't remember. I forgot the name of it, but
not Work It Out, right?
No, she was the only one allowed.
Yeah, Prince don't play. I will. Yeah, Prince don't play.
Like no, you can't pay me enough to sample my record.
Wow.
And he wanted certain people to do his music. Like I know when Alicia Keys, he gave her permission. He did. It's only a couple of people. It ain't been a lot. So Prince wasn't playing with that.
Right. Yeah,
I'm kind of looking at the stuff that they doing now, like releasing his unreleased tracks, and I'm kind of side-eyeing because he didn't even want that, you know. But again, it's kind of messed up.
Right.
So when you with the songwriting aspect or whatnot, do you like to write with yourself or write with a team? Well, write by yourself or with a team?
I like both. I like being able to collaborate with other writers as well as I can do it by myself too. But I think the growth as a writer is being able to collaborate with other people. You know, you can have a signature sound, but again, I'm gonna use R. Kelly for instance. I don't care what nobody say about him personally.
That's true. He's right.
He's a dope writer. He collaborates with other people, although he may not give them their credit or buy them out for writing the record. He still collaborates. He reinvents himself every few months, and that's in leaving yourself open to write and collaborate with other people. Like I hate it when I'm gonna use Usher's "Yeah" for instance. Everybody thinks Sean Garrett wrote Usher's "Yeah" by himself. Not true. He just happened to have a PR team who catered to him, just about him.
Wow.
But there's like 4 or 5 writers on that record.
Okay.
I thought that was Brian Michael Cox. He did something there.
Nope. Not "Yeah."
No, not "Yeah," but he did something on the album.
Yeah, he did.
That was a whole production on that.
He did.
That whole album was like, I mean, everybody knows that album was epic.
Right.
And so many people was on it. I mean, I don't. How can I say it? That album was like the album of my high school senior year. Yeah. I went through the emotions just like with everybody else.
I think that album was so big, Usher didn't record anything for like 4 years.
Yeah. He didn't have to, because that was, but you know, that album set him up to be like on point vocally. And I had a guest on here. We talked about that, how when he did the tribute, well, the Michael Jackson thing or whatnot, he was competing with the late great Luther. So Luther Vandross, everybody, we say Luther for everybody.
Who in their right mind putting Usher in the category of Luther Vandross?
I want to know that too.
So let me tell. So no. They wanted him to be on the like up there, like up there. They was grooming him. So when he first came out, they was grooming him to be Marvin Gaye. But so then
I can see that.
Yeah, but then when he did the Michael Jackson thing with what's the band with Nick Lachey or whatnot, what's that? And then they was doing Change, and he was like running with Luther, going back and forth, and so people were like, you know what? Not Usher was like, I gotta do more or something. So with that album, he did that. And then they had him on that one trip because Luther wasn't available to do it. He had got sick. And so they had him do Superstar or something. And that's when he really showed people his vocal ability. And then he was like, then all of a sudden you seen that album come out and you seen all the stuff he was doing with it. And then it made sense. It was like, oh, okay. Because if you notice, the vocal ability was different. It was a little bit more versus with Broadway.
You were Luther.
It was. I'm not saying he Luther though. No, I'm not saying he's Luther, but
I'm not saying he was comparing him to that.
Like they were trying to get him to be to that level.
He still ain't to that level. Not Luther.
I love Luther. Like I feel like Luther
I feel like Usher is in his own lane.
He is. He is definitely.
There's nobody like him.
Yeah, but they was putting him up to be a crooner.
Right. There's nobody like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
You know, they have their own lane, which I'm proud of. But I will say this: every artist, and I don't care what no artist say right now. We can argue back and forth. Every artist that comes out has studied someone.
Right.
has blueprinted someone. Beyonce blueprinted Tina Turner. She became Beyonce after.
Mm-hmm.
Came into her own thing. But people start out in an element of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they mold that and then they make themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. But what about the people that they don't evolve? Like, so for instance, Janet Jackson has an evolution. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these people, they never evolved in their singing. Like, they're just there, and it's like, who do you like, I guess, blame for that? Do you think it's more so them, or do you think it's more so their development team? Why is nobody saying anything to, like, challenge, to push them to go to another level?
I think they do. I think well, here's my thing. Sometimes artists be in their own way. And if they're a collaborative people and a team who's already done this, who already knows what it takes, and a lot of these artists listen to the new artists that are online and how they break and stuff, and a lot of them don't tell 100% of the truth. They don't tell what it really is, how it really happened. A lot of them try to make it seem like, oh, I did it by myself. No, you haven't done it by yourself. You had people to help you, mold you, groom you, mold you, and mold you. You may not have ended up with them at the end result because now you decided, they didn't want to listen to you, and now you're going to take all their information that they gave you plus the information you got yourself, and you're going to mold this into your own, and now you're going to tell everybody I did it on my own. I made this happen. I made this wave here. So it's like I don't know. It's a tough thing with artists understanding how this whole music business goes, because it changes. Every 10 years it changes.
Mm-hmm.
And now with streaming and all this stuff going on, it just, everything changes. But a lot of artists jump out the window. Some of them get the parachute, some of them don't. For me, I stopped listening to the radio like maybe 6 years ago because everybody sounds the same. Like,
yes,
like there's 50 people that sounds like Janae Aiko or
really,
or what's her name?
Her, Jasmine Sullivan.
I haven't heard nobody that really sound like her. Or Jasmine Sullivan. Nobody.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out names like just of new people.
Girl, start with an S.
7.
No, not 7.
Snow Allegra.
Not Snow Allegra. I forgot her name. Dag. She used to be a stripper.
Cardi B.
No, she was
Sweetie.
No, but
she wasn't a stripper.
Like, when I turn on Pandora, like, I think I'm listening to the same girl like 8 times.
What does she sing? What song? What's the song called?
I don't know. She's a stripper in the video.
I don't know, man.
It'll come to me.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I mean.
Oh, Summer Walker.
Summer Walker. Yeah.
I knew he was.
There's like 100 of them. There's like 100 Futures. There's like, there's one Drake.
I love Ari Lennox.
In my era, there was one LL Cool J, one Run DMC, one Public Enemy, one KRS-One, one Queen Latifah. Nobody was copying nobody, and if they did, they didn't get picked up and they didn't get put out. Mm-hmm. One Mariah Carey.
That is so true.
It is.
And I like that about the 80s and the 90s and the 70s and even the 60s. I like that because it was like you giving everybody their own lane. You letting everybody be great and you letting everybody develop. The artist development was real. You could see that the A&Rs, the artists and repertoire, they were actually going out there and they were making sure that artist was going to have their own thing, and also ultimately making sure that it was a whole 360 of their evolution. Like, you had to work on your performance, your stage presence, your singing, your your PR. Like when you go out to the press, you don't mess up yourself. You don't say things you're not supposed to say. They
That's
work
why I
on
put that post up on my page, that Barry Gordy's book. Do not be misconstrued by reading something from the past. That's still relevant to the future.
Yeah.
You know, his development of artists is amazing. What came out of Motown.
Yes.
You know, so people can say what they want to say, walking on stage back and forth. I'm not paying money to see that. Why they think Beyonce concerts is sold out? You paying money to see a show. Chris Brown shows is sold out. Usher shows is sold out. You paying money to see a show.
And that's true.
If I want to see you walk back and forth, I'll just pay $5 online to watch you walk back and forth. I'm not gonna go to your concert. I'm not gonna pay $500 to see you just stand there with an entourage of people on there, and all y'all doing is throwing towels up in the air. That's cool for the hip hop world. That's what you want to do, but I'm not paying my money to see that.
And that is so true. Like people will say, I ain't paying all that money for no Beyonce. It ain't. I said you gonna get your money's worth though. So don't, because I went to go see her and she did her thing. So you know, at the end of the day,
a lot of these new artists do not invest in a show. They do not invest in their performance. They sound terrible. They don't invest in like Bruno Mars's show is amazing.
Not bad.
Guess what? 20 years from now, we're gonna see that. 20 years from now, you're not gonna see. I'm just using a fake name. China Boo got a big hit song. Is up there for 3 weeks. You're not gonna see her in concert 20 years from now. Because she just walked across the stage and just sang the song or just stood there.
Lip syncing is big with some of these people. Like they think it's like they do.
Work. They don't.
They don't work.
Easy. They want to take the easy route.
And that's the thing. Like for me, back in the day, you know, like watching the videos that we have access to on YouTube and like the different Soul Train and all that stuff, right? You would see people actually performing. I mean, Soul Train, they did have people lip syncing, but they did that because of production reasons. So it wasn't that the people couldn't sing, it was because of production reasons in terms of the instrumentals, in terms of some people were not available to match the sound of the artist. So they had people lip syncing. So we understand why they lip sync. But everything that came after Soul Train, nah, it was just you just didn't want to learn the song. You didn't want to play the instrument. No, but they didn't play the instrument. Like that's the thing. Back in the day, people, if you turn the microphone off, and someone said that on the show,
right,
you're gonna really see who can sing and who can't sing. You're gonna really see, are you playing that instrument? You can really see who is going to do what they need to do, and who's gonna keep up, who's gonna be able to impress the audience, the stage presence. When that microphone, when the sound goes off, what you gonna do? You just gonna sit there and be like, are you gonna be able to do what you need to do? So back in the day, people learned the music and it was like an art, and it was unheard of for people not to practice. You had some people, maybe like a select few, two or three people, who, you know, they got found out that they weren't really singing, but no, not even with that though, because that wasn't their fault though, because they actually did want to sing, but it was a few. The one where they stole the woman's sound, they stole Martha Wash's sound, and they know they was wrong for that. They did it again twice, and you know, those are the people who they could not sing. They know they couldn't sing. And so they got a model to do it, and they thought that we were not going to see that it was not her doing that. And even as a little girl, I was like, Grandma, that is not that woman singing. Oh, that's not her singing. And so my granny was like, how do you know? I said, Granny, that's not her. It just don't seem right. Something ain't right about that. And then it came out. It came out, didn't it?
Right.
Kids be knowing. We be knowing as kids, someone right with that. And Martha Wash is dope.
Right.
So I definitely get it. So with the whole, okay, so a lot of people might not know this. So you actually provided vocals on Lovely Day Part 2. How did that come into place?
With Eddie F, a friend of mine, he brought us in the studio. And he said, I want y'all to sing on this and give me some stuff. And so we did that with Big Bub.
That's another fave of mine. Oh, yes. Okay. So everybody don't know Big Bub, I Want Your Love. And then him, me. Him, me. Teddy Riley produced that. And y'all, we'll see. Okay, anyways. For y'all people who don't know that. So anyway, so the state of R&B, what are your thoughts on that right now? The fact that there has not been another like male black R&B group or R&B in general since B2K, Mindless Behavior, and
I think there's a lot of amazing guy groups out there. I think it's just hard for labels and them to kind of invest their time into them, because they become, a lot of these artists become a headache, before they even get out there, and it's like,
yeah. Day 26, that was the other one I was thinking of. So the whole they're coming out with another Making the Band too. I think it's supposed to come out soon. But I guess for me, what do you, because that does play a part. The egos, the the little
my boy group got signed. After they got signed, they felt like they didn't want to rehearse. They didn't want to do none of that. They felt like the world owed them. We owed them. Everybody owed them, instead of doing what they was doing before they got signed to continue to be great. They all changed, and people don't want to deal with a headache. You haven't even sold any records yet. So how are you acquiring and making a big fuss that people owe you all this stuff when you haven't even done anything? You haven't sold one record. And then they regret all of this later. Oh, I should have listened. Oh, I should have this. I should have did that. Yeah, well, it's over. It's done now. Because, they were amazing.
And I feel like it's a repeat of that. Like literally, you always hear that same story. Like when you watch Unsung on different groups, it's always a repeat of that. Mm-hmm. Like, and you always have the people that they put people against each other. Like the one, the lead. There always has to be the David Ruffin or Diana Ross, the lead. And then you got the person who they feel like they should go out there first, but they really should not go out there first. It's always that story. And not to diminish any of that, because they're all great groups, but sometimes you have to be an Indian. You can't be a chief. You have to know your range, you have to know your limits, and you have to get in where you fit in. I know it's political, everybody says political, but for me, if I know that, hey, I'm gonna be on a song and I know that I'm guaranteed a chorus, I'm gonna sing that chorus to the best of my ability.
But most of all, people gotta understand. You gotta know how to play the game.
That too.
You gotta know how to play the game. Or sell some records and then whatever, however you're feeling and however changes you want to make and do that later. But in the meantime, continue to do what you've been doing that got you in the door to make the records and be put out, so you can have your literally 100% own voice, which in this music industry you don't. Not even Beyonce has her own voice. Like even if it's 80%, it's still not 100. She still has to answer to someone. She still has to sit and make decisions with other people, respectfully. As a business, you have to engage with other people to find out what works and what's going to sell. Yes, you can have all these amazing ideas. I want to put this whole album out and do visuals to them. And those people are going to talk about it and be adamant about doing it and think that's amazing. Let me create these videos and let's run with it. And she did it. She was the first one to do it. And it, boom. but at the end of the day, she still has people that she has to listen to.
That's true. And then also I noticed with some of the people, like I can name Seven Streeter is one. She was smart about what she did. She went and got with Chris Brown, and she recognized, you know what? I want to do songwriting. I could do that as well. And like I definitely give her, I give her applause for that. I give her my hat because at the end of the day, she was smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
Said, you know what? I like to sing, but I'm gonna go and learn the business. I'm gonna go and learn the things. And she sat with Chris Brown. And when she was in that group, it was her and somebody else. I forgot who it was, but anyway, so a lot of people they'll just get lost in the sauce, like, okay, I want to sing, I want to sing. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go into the studio time and learn from somebody, and I'm gonna sit back and like develop and throw some lyrics and be an asset and be like, hey, that girl ain't just a singer. She songwrites too. Hey, she ain't just cute. She ain't just sitting there doing nothing. She is actually doing something, and she's actually an asset to the record label. And you know what? Here's a publishing deal for this person. Like, I sit and I watch. I didn't watch some of the. Well, listen to some of what is it? Clubhouse. I didn't listen to some of that. I sat back and I watched like a lot of interviews on YouTube with certain back in the day. And like I study different things, and then I go and I read different things too. And I'm like, okay, if I could do that, why some of these other people ain't doing that? Not saying they not. I'm not saying they're not, but for me, if you really want to be here for a long, long time, it's not about the singing. Look at Rihanna. They keep asking her for an album.
It's 10%
talent,
10% talent, and 90% of who you know.
Yeah. Say that again for the people that can't hear.
10% talent, 90% of who you know. So studying and doing your homework about this industry and what is necessary and what is needed of you as an artist, songwriter, or producer is the most important. Most important. Period. I've learned that since I was 14 in this music business. Relationships are everything, and doing your homework on what you're doing is another thing. They like, oh yeah, you're talented. There's 50 other people that do what you do and better. What's gonna make you stand out?
Right.
That is very true. So would you say that an artist that's coming in, right, if they have a good personality and they have potential, they have a good voice, and they'll listen to you, and when they go into the studio, they cut that track like that, people are more willing to work with that person because they'll get it done versus to work with the diva or the devo who's going, oh, I don't want to do it, just being extra, coming in late, wasting time and money. If they can sing, but you're gonna have to deal with a headache. A lot of people ain't gonna want to deal with that, right?
No, well, that comes down to people putting their foot down. Like if we set a session, and I'm spending my money and show up late, we'll never do a session again. Because that means you have no respect for my time nor my money. But if you were spending your money, you would want us to be on time and do what we need to do. And you'll probably feel the same way. Oh, well, I won't work, or you'll talk about me. She was late. She was always on her phone. She was always in her computer, doing whatever. A song that should have took 5 hours took 15 hours. I go in the studio, I work. They be like, Shanell, you be slave trading. No, I be focused. The difference. I'm focused. If I book a writing session for 6 writers for 3 days for the weekend, and our goal is 20 records, we getting at least 15 of them.
Dang.
At least
that's impressive.
People hit me up to do writing sessions. Shanell, can they come to LA? Yep, this is what I need. I'll pay for their flights. Here's the hotel. Make sure they eat. Boom, we're gonna give you what you need.
So you need to do the other half for them. That makes sense. I mean, you scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Exactly.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So with the writing workshop, so tell us about the Writers Rumble.
Writers Rumble, I came up with when I saw that people in the industry were really kicking writers back, not giving us the credit, not paying us, feeling like the pet peeve of mine is, first of all, for the producers that are watching, don't ever hit me and ask me to do a song for you if you're not paying me when you get paid. Period. Like the fact that people in the industry and producers think, you know what, we're gonna get our check first, and the writers will get their check when the song come out and all that. No, we work too. Cutting vocals, cutting the song, write the song. Okay, you the producer, you did the track, cool. We all did the work. So why we can't all get paid at the same time? So if you're a producer and you're charging $2,500, my fee is $1,500, I need you to tack my fee on there to what your fee is, so we both getting paid. So if you get half up front, I should be getting half up front too.
So
like
why
in the beginning I was green and we was letting people get away with that. But I'm traveling, I'm cutting vocals, I'm doing all that, I'm vocal arranging. I deserve to be paid for that. Just like you getting paid for a track that you probably did with 3 people. And it was already done 3 years ago. Gotta be fair. Gotta be fair with it. So that's how I came up with Writers Rumble, a way to put songwriters out there, to show America that these records aren't just coming from the artists, they're coming from songwriters who've been writing behind the scenes. And this is what we go through.
And thank you for doing that, because a lot of people don't know that, but I know for myself that it is the songwriters that's doing the songwrite. Like I definitely get it. And some people think, oh, it's the singer. No, the singer ain't writing all that. No offense to the people, but they ain't writing all that. You could tell you could
last time I checked, you didn't get a BET award for instrumental.
Yeah.
That part.
And that's the thing. You got the lyrics aspect of it, you got the instrumental aspect. And so how do you decide who's gonna get half and half from that?
Oh, well, if I'm writing a record, I'm getting half.
Okay.
If they produce the record, whoever they produce the record with, they get half, and they split their half with whoever they produce the record with. But as a writer, if we coming in on 100%, I get 50, they get 50.
So with the whole like publishing, is it good to be set up with ASCAP, CSAC, and BMI to be paired up with one? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So make sure you copyright your stuff too, people. Make sure y'all do that. I don't care if y'all do it.
Copy is cool. You know, it's still relevant, but actually copywriting, going into your PRO, copywriting your records is the best way.
And when you mean TRO, what is that?
$100 for the membership for you to send all your records in.
And that's what TRO is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What does it stand for?
I forget. You mean PRO?
PR. Okay.
Performance rights organization.
Okay. Yeah. People, you need to know that when you're doing this, people, because they will get you. So your tracks are relatable and well thought for ladies, and they were, you know, how can I say? Well, speaking to the ones that we're talking about, did they come from experiences in your life or from a woman's perspective in general?
A combination of something that happened in our lives and then stuff we've seen.
Okay. So was it hard to write some of those ones? I mean, the one, you know, do you feel like you was going through the emotions again with that person?
Well, you know, at the from the top. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Hey, okay. I'm on my interview. Is it important? Okay. All right. Bye. I'm sorry.
No, you be busy. I, you know, I'm flexible. I don't trip about stuff like that.
First and foremost, women are emotional creatures. We are designed to respond emotionally. And I always say this, until we can navigate our emotions and learn how to control them, we're always going to make crazy decisions. And until we're fed up with the mess we put ourselves in, like I said, we're going to make crazy decisions. So in writing those songs, it comes from experience, and it also comes from watching other people go through the same experience. I could write a song, be on a bus, watch somebody arguing about some craziness, and write a song about it. Or write about something that I wish could happen to me. When it comes to love or relationships, or because I always say this, I'm a little different. I have friends who go through the same thing for the past 30 years. Me, I go through it once, I'm good. While I'm watching my friends go through a whole bunch of times, or still in the same situation 20 years later. Like, when do you learn? So, every time I turn around, they're always like, "Oh, Shanell, you have male tendencies." That's a good thing.
It sure is.
I'll take that, I'll clap it up and say thank you. I've been in love 1.5 times in my life. So when it comes down to being able to write records, my weakness is love songs, but I'll write them from other people's perspective or from what I wish I could have. Okay. Up tempos was not always a good thing for me, but that's why collaborating, I learned how to write up tempos better. But as a songwriter, you have to know your weaknesses and your strengths and focus on your weaknesses to make them all your strengths. So when somebody is looking you up, oh, who can we get to come write this gospel record? Let's get Shanell. She can write gospel, country, R&B, ballads, up tempo. Do you want to be versatile? You don't want to be where, okay, we can only call her when we need a gospel record. We can only call her when we need a pop record. So I had to learn that the hard way and learn how to maneuver my emotions and not be so emotional when it comes to getting my songs picked. When it comes to writing a song, catering to guys, catering to girls, and I love it. It's really all about a fairy tale. People love fairy tales. People love stories.
They do, because some people live in fairy tales.
Like, we went through this whole phase of people just wanting to have sex and smoke weed and sit up and watch Netflix. You know what I mean? Now women, young ladies and women want to be romanced. They want the walks in the park, the holding hands, the wine drinking, and the talking, and oh boo, and rubbing of the face and making love, and every now and then a quickie. But then you have the guys who mentally are still trying to grow up in a capacity, because women we're 10 light years ahead of them. So they're right now still trying to figure that out, because they're still in the whole let's smoke some weed and have sex and go home. And let's text all day. You know what I mean? There's romance that's missing. There's communication that's missing. Because they think all the women now are all alike. They just want to do the weed and they're happy, they're satisfied with that, and it's not true. So now the wave of songs are starting to turn different, which I'm happy. Starting to tell stories, starting to have substance, instead of just talking about, oh, let's lay up and smoke a L and drink a Henny, and women that want to be romanced in love may do a little bit of that, but they want a lot of bit of emotional attention.
So collaboration wise, like, who is your dream collaboration? You probably already had that, possibly.
Right now, I would love to kick it with Jasmine Sullivan. She's an amazing songwriter.
We're gonna speak that into existence, Jasmine. Yes. We love Jasmine.
I would love to write with Diane Warren. She's an amazing songwriter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Michael Cox, of course, my favorite.
Yes. Brian. We need to pass him. Yeah.
That's really it.
I have a story about so I actually was standing like a couple of inches by Brian Michael Cox at the Grammy party, and I was like, "Hey, I like your music." He was DJing, and then it was like a very closed environment. So I just said that. I was like, "That's all I need to say." I got a wave, and I was like, "Deuces." Then somebody I bumped into them, and I was like, "Hold up." I was like, "Oh, it was just." What's the song? You know the song, and I wish I never met her. Yeah, I bumped into him.
Okay.
Yeah, Carl Thomas. I was like, oh my God. And then I met Diane Warren.
Yeah, she's amazing. Me and her talked
she's amazing.
We talked on the phone a couple of times, but I'm going to LA the 6th, the 5th to the 11th, and I'm gonna try to catch up with her. Definitely.
That's awesome. Definitely. That'll be magnificent. So, female and male vocals of all time. I ask everybody that. So, who are your female and male vocals?
My favorite female vocalist, Beyonce. Jasmine Sullivan.
Yes.
Her.
Yes.
Christina Aguilera.
Okay. Males.
Chris Brown.
Okay.
Usher is still my all-time favorite.
Okay.
Joe.
Oh my God! Yes.
Carl Thomas, even though he's not like super relevant right now, he's still amazing.
Yeah.
Eric Bellinger.
People sleep on him.
Mm-hmm.
People sleep on him. Like he's a dope songwriter too.
Mm-hmm.
He could do some things with that voice. Like I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like him as a writer and a singer. And he's really amazing live.
Wow. Yeah, what about older ones?
Oh, my all-time favorite is Stokely from Mint Condition.
Yes, he does not get the credit he deserves. Yeah.
Writer and vocalist.
Hey, Ben.
When I met him, I was like, oh, I love you. He's so sexy.
Oh my God.
I'm like, in a whole lot of ways, bro. How are you?
Yes. Like,
you could sing to me.
I like him. I would like to hear him and Raphael Sadiq. They would do a bomb song together, man. I would love to hear that. And I would like to hear a song with Brian McKnight and Lionel Richie. That'd be dope. I don't know. I just sit around and I think of like different stuff like that. I'll be like, that'd be dope.
Yeah, I love Lionel Richie. His concert was amazing.
Yes, I love him. He's a fave of mine.
Chucky Booker.
Yes,
his MD. So he was in New York and he was like, "Oh, come on, hang out." I went out there and him, Cheryl Pepsi Riley, like that concert was amazing. I think it was like 6 black people in the whole place. He was like, I'm sitting there in my chair videotaping all of these. Excuse my French, I'm just saying it, these white people just sing all of his records. I'm like, yo, this is big.
Lionel Richie?
Yes.
Did he
sold out 3 nights in a row? Mad white people.
Okay, hold on. Did he do Love Will Find a Way?
Yep.
Oh my God.
When he did All Night Long, they was in the aisles dancing all night long. All night.
That's great. This song by Lionel Richie, like I've been like practicing it on the piano. That's one of the hardest songs to like. Yeah,
it was great.
So
I would have never envisioned me going to his concert, but When I went, I was really like amazed. Like I would love to go to an Earth, Wind and Fire concert.
Yes. I had tickets to one, but I got sick and I had to give them away. I was so mad.
I had tickets to this Babyface, and it was facing somebody, and I ended up letting my partner go with one of his friends, and I was so mad they talked about it. I finally got to see Babyface later, a couple of years later, but like he was amazing even then when I went. You know,
I love Babyface. He's another.
He really showed out at this show because he's such a shy person.
He really is. During the verses, that was so funny. He was like, "I'm just sipping on my red Kool-Aid or something."
He's very smooth, you know. But I love his demeanor.
Yeah,
he's
very classy.
He's a great songwriter. He's one of the greats. And I just was watching Waiting to Exhale. That whole soundtrack is amazing.
Yes.
He killed that whole soundtrack, and I'm like, and everything was just matched.
Yes.
It was just
so it really cool. Did. It marinated. It was like literally. My favorite song from there is Way by Shantae Moore. I love that song. She performed it in person. I was like, oh my God, this is so dope. Yeah. And then Shaka Khan, My Funny Valentine, say yes.
Yeah, all the songs were dope. My favorite song is the Faith song.
Yeah, what is it? Hold on.
I believe Kissing You.
Yes. And I like the Boomerang soundtrack too.
Yeah, Boomerang soundtrack is dope. Yeah.
He produced that one too, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. And then it was so funny because with Toni Braxton, a lot of her songs, those were really Anita Baker songs. But Anita Baker was like, hey, give me Toni Braxton or something.
Yeah, Toni Braxton's tone back then is amazing. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to see her in concert. I heard she's another one that's really dope. So, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram 99.9% of the time at Shanell Red. And I'm also on Facebook, Shanell Red.
Yep. And then Writers Rumble website.
Writers with a Z. Writers Rumble, with a Z on Instagram. Actually, you can go to our webpage, which is thewritersrumble.com. And our business page is fathouseent.com. PHATTHOUSEENT. And pretty much.
And also I want to mention that like you have an eye for talent. Like you were part of Emily King. You got that record deal for her when she got first signed to J Records, when J Records was big, when you had the people that was in 2007, I believe.
Yes.
So kind of like the 2000s when Clive Davis was emerging with Alicia Keys, Mario, Olivia, David Cozier. I mean not David Cozier, Jimmy Cozier, and some of the other people or whatnot. That was big. J Records was like the record label you want to go to for like the new people.
Yes.
And so you really have an eye for talent. Like, so when did you get into the A&R aspect of it?
I guess I always was in it. You know, it just took for somebody else to point it out. Like Shanell, you have an eye for great talent. Like I said, talent falls in my lap. I don't go looking for it. It's either I take it on or I don't. And you got to be real extra special for me to take you on. Like if I'm working harder than you can't work. Because I already been through what you've been through. So as an artist, you need to come to me creatively of things you want to do, and because your opinion is valued and it's necessary. It matters. But at the same token, it's about balancing each other out. Me A&Ring and helping you develop and be what these labels are looking for, and then you understanding what it's going to take to do that, and also wanting to listen and do do the work and not think, oh, because she know people, I'm just gonna get a deal. Nope.
That's really what some people think, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they really think that. And with the whole A&R, you know, like another person, I think I said this before. I was like, man, I'll be sure he could be an A&R. Like, yeah, dude knows talent. Dude knows talent. Like, yeah.
Yep, he definitely does.
Definitely knows talent. Like, dude's a songwriter too in his own right, and then producer, but still, it's a lot of them out there that know talent.
Right.
Some of them get the chance, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
Let me. Did I get all my? I think I got everything. Yeah, I think did I. Okay, I think I did.
All good.
But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, I learned a lot and whatnot, and it was interesting. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow I have Tamika Staples, a gospel artist. So stay tuned tomorrow at 3 p.m. And thank you everybody for staying with me.
Hanging out with us.
Hanging out. And thank you, Shannon. Appreciate that.
Shannon.
Huh, I can't hear you. What did you say?
No,
I was saying thank you.
Yes. So thank you everybody. And I'm going to end the cast. Hold on one second.